What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Motorhead YouTube channel. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my 1987 BMW E30 M3. Yes, this is a real M3, and yes, we did shove a huge V8. This is a fully built V8 with a cam, and it's got all forged internals. It's been gone through from the ground up. Super awesome. And as you can see, we are super close. So the engine wiring is all done, and right now I'm working on the interior, and we're gonna go ahead and try and get this thing started. So let's get right into it. We got a lot of stuff to get into this episode. We have a sponsor for this episode, and we'll get into that later. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna go over everything, what I've already done and what we need to do, and hopefully get this thing started. All right, guys, so I went ahead and started running the wiring. I still need to trim all these zip ties off, but as you can see, the harness comes through here. It's all mounted down, then it comes up and goes around and goes to the ECU. And here we have our fuel pump relay. This right here is our main battery fuse, and then another fuse right here. So these, I'm gonna have to find a place to put them, possibly up here somewhere. So I'm about to find fuse mounting positions. And what I have to do to start this car is we have our 12-volt switch power right here. We have our battery power right here, and our fuse, I mean not our fuse, our fuel pump. So pretty much these are the three wires I need to do right now, and then once we get these done, we'll go ahead and start on ignition to the starter and stuff. But my plan is, since these have to go all the way back anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and solder both of these wires to them, and then what we'll do is we'll run it all the way back inside this wire along the battery cable, and the fuel pump wire will hop out right here to the fuel pump. But or maybe the fuel pump's right there. Either way, wherever the fuel pump goes, we'll make it hop out right here and go across. I think it actually goes down right there and into that corner. So that'll come out, and then the rest will just continue back to the battery, and we'll get this mounted to the battery and this right here. So this is the power for the ECU, and this has to be bolted directly to the battery, they say, and that as well. So that's what we're gonna do right now, and then I'll show you what it looks like once it's done. Okay, guys, so my other wire was not thick enough, so I went and bought some of the same gauge as this, and check it out, we got it all soldered up, and we're gonna put this on right here. As you can see, I'm gonna have to use 2 fingers to do it, but we're gonna put it over, get it all shrinked on there, and then I'll do the fuel pump, and we'll route them into there, and I'll show you how it looks. Look at that. Got some nice heat shrink on them. They're staggered away, which is perfect. So now we're gonna go ahead and run them into this little wire here, and we'll get it routed. All right, so I got the wire ran. As you can see, goes in there. Check this out. We got the fuses all on there. Look, guys, I'm doing everything as neat and as perfectly as I possibly can. We got the ground with the shrink wrap crimped onto there, soldered, so that's going to be solid. So this is a ground harness. We're going to go ahead and plug that up, and that's pretty much fit for this stuff. And then we're going to move on to the ignition right now, and we'll start on this. So I do want to put the dashboard in, that way I can kind of get an idea of where our speedometer goes and this wiring and how we're going to run it. So we're going to do that next. That way we can run all these wires, and then we'll go ahead and start working on the ignition. Okay, so here we have our ignition, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, and 3. So here is my E30 little steering column, and this hole was too big, so I went ahead and put a new little plastic in there, welded it up, and we got a hole drilled. So we're gonna screw it in, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so there we have it. And if anyone's wondering why I'm doing a 3 position, it's because I want to make the actual ignition on a kill switch. That way it'll be hidden, because if you think about it, this right here is actually pretty easy to hot wire. So if we have it on a kill switch, the main actual ignition will be a switch, and it'll just be out of sight. So that's why we're doing it this way. I'm gonna go ahead and make a harness for this, and we'll get it all installed. Well, you guys, I did not account for the steering column, and I guess the E30 ignition is smaller, so that entire idea is scrapped, which sucks. But check this out. I went ahead and put the key right here, as you can see. Put it in, boom, boom, boom. On, start. And we have our USB right here, which is for the Holly display. My wife actually brought me some dinner. Check that out. She made me this panini some root beer, so I'm gonna take a little break and then I'm gonna get back to it. I need to extend this ignition wire now, and we'll go ahead and get both of these wired to this right here and put them somewhere nice up inside there, and then that ignition will all be done, and then we'll go ahead and do the starter wire, get the starter wire to the starter, and then from there pretty much just keep moving forward until we have everything ready to start. All right guys, so we have 2 wires ran to the ignition. Check that out, it looks beautiful, all nice and soldered. So now all that's left is to run the starter wire, and while I do the starter wire, I'm gonna go ahead and do the from the starter to the alternator. So we have that cable. I just have to swap out these right here. So I went and bought some, and then I also went and bought some 10 gauge wire for the ignition to the starter wire. So we're gonna go ahead and build both of these harnesses, and we'll get everything put on and ready to go. All right, so I got this crimped and heat shrink. So I'm gonna put the black heat shrink all over the top just to make it cleaner and add some more support. And then we'll button it to the starter and run the wire up. And same with this other wire right here once we replace those. That way I can go ahead and reinstall that. I went ahead and plugged in my little, I think that's the crankshaft position sensor, I believe, but I went ahead and plugged that up. So we're gonna finish this up. That way we can button up this bottom and get back up to the top. All right, there's our final product, looking beautiful. Like I said, I didn't do this side because we're gonna get the length. That way I can tuck this wire nicely. So I'm gonna reinstall this, and we'll get this to the ignition and get that to the alternator. All right, so we got our power wire, our ignition wire, and check this out, guys. Boom, starter wire, fits beautifully. I'm still gonna have to mount it, and then this right here has a resistor in it. That way the alternator won't burn up. So this is a very common issue with these LS swaps, I believe. I'm not sure why, but people have them burn up. So I have the resistor in here, and this right here we need to wire up to a 12 volt constant. So I think that would be this right here, but I could be wrong. So we'll go ahead and wire that up. But I'm gonna do some more research on that. For now, let's go inside here and do this ignition wire to the key, and then the entire ignition system should be done. All right, and there we have it, wired up to the ignition. I got a question for you guys. Let me know. So this is from the power source, and I was wondering, should I make it the same size cable as this one? I'm not sure if it needs it. I just did this one because it was going directly to the starter, and if it needs it on this one, let me know in the comments. And if anything, I'll just redo this loom right here. Not a big deal, just one that goes right over there. So it's done. About to put it together. We're gonna see how it all looks. And there we have it, guys. We have an ignition. Blah, 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 blah. But that's everything. So now that we have everything running to the battery, we need to get a battery into it and wire up this fuel pump. And other than that, it is good to go, and this thing will be ready to start. So I'm about to look into how to do this right here. This is for the Holley digital display. So there's 3 wires that come off of it. We need to figure out where these go. So I'm about to do that, and then we'll go ahead and put in the dash. All right, so I got the 2 wires wired up. All that's left now is to do this ground, and then we'll put that together, put a battery on it, and we're gonna see if this ignition turns on. So hopefully I did everything right and all is well. All right, guys, we got a battery on it, so we're gonna test it out. All right, we got our power. Nothing. Huh. Well, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. I am stumped. Check this out. We got the cold air intake though. Forgot to show you guys that. So I'm gonna get this all 3D printed, and it's going to have a cover just like that. Boom. It's gonna clip in, sit flush to that, and we're gonna have a 90 coming up right there. So forgot to show you that. But anyways, I don't know what I did wrong. There's no power going to it whatsoever. So I'm just gonna have to go through everything, see if it's all good, check all the fuses, but from what I can tell, everything is plugged up how it should be. So I don't know, I am stumped. I'm gonna call it a night, and that's gonna be it. Hope you guys are enjoying the M3 content. Stay tuned. All right guys, so it's next morning. We checked this little wire right here and there is no power going to it. So what we're going to do is we are going to run it to this big one, and then we'll see if that is the issue. We'll just crimp a new connection onto this one. So the battery should be on. Yep, we are going to plug up the ECU and see what this thing does. So far nothing.
Look at those beautiful, colorful.
Wow. All right, we got a Christmas tree right here. New ECU found. You want to go to factory default screens? No. All right, you got to go to configuration. Wait. Oh my gosh. I wonder if it would. I see my starter's not hooked up right. Dang, but everything is. Okay, I just have to go over, check all these lights, see which ones aren't plugged up. Plug up the thing. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Man. Then I went to sleep sad. I could have went to sleep happy.
Why? You should have slept happy for the future, knowing it's gonna happen.
No, I went over. I was like, there's no way. I went over everything, and Andre seen, like, we soldered everything beautiful, where like everything is like, it's like. All right, so you have to go through. I need to look it up, but pretty much you have to go through it, and you have to set up like my cam. But is it sync EFI? Oh no, I'm not gonna touch nothing. I want to do some research. Oh my gosh. Sekundę, my już zaraz. What?
To jest zwuk na... Ciut more.
Alright, it turns over. It turns up. Man, all I gotta do is fuel, and that's it. Plug up the fuel thing. Oh, and this, yeah. Alright guys, so check this out. These two I have to remake. So I ordered this custom kit. It's already 30 from sitting on the ground, but that way I can make these two plug wires extended right here, and they will go around the Hydro Boost. And so that's what I need to do next. We're gonna build these right here we need to extend as well. So kept all these top hats, that way they could all be identical. And then we just have to run the fuel pump to the fuel pump, the wire to the fuel pump, and plug it up, and this thing will start up. That's crazy. There's no oil in it though, so we got to put oil in it, we got to put coolant in it, but other than that, this thing is so close to starting. That is so awesome. Man, I was so discouraged yesterday, but we're good to go. All right, so I got these two coils just temporarily wired just to see if we can get this thing started. So next we are working on the fuel tank, and I already transferred everything over from that one to this one, as you can see. So what we need to do is we're gonna go ahead and get this fuel tank in. We need to wire up the fuel pump, get the fuel pump mounted, and then throw this entire setup into the car and get some fuel in it, and hopefully we can get this thing started today. All right guys, check it out. We have the fuel pump and the filter with all the lines hooked up. I also hooked up that line right there. This is all just temporary, and we're gonna redo everything once we get our lift. I just wanted to put all this together and get it ran. That way we can go ahead and see if this thing will crank up. So as you can see, I'll get closer over here 1 second. We have our wires ran with grommets, and then this wire is going to go up top just like that right there, and we'll go up top and wire it up, and then we'll turn on the ignition and see if it primes. Look at that guys, we got our fuel pump wire running super nice and neat. We have ourselves a ground right there, and check it out, all nice and heat shrinked and soldered up. So now we're gonna turn on the ignition and see if we hear this pump prime. All right guys, here we go. Our LS is finally getting oil. We got Mobile One synthetic oil. I love Mobile One, I use it on all my cars. But this thing takes 6.5 quarts. I'm gonna put 7 because we have the oil cooler. So we'll put 7 for now. If that's not enough, we'll top it off. But I think for now 7 will be safe. Just 0.5 over for the oil filter relocation and that. It'll definitely most likely be low, but not low enough to do anything. We're just gonna run it for a second and see if it'll start. All right, check it out guys. I'm a tuner today, so just for the start, you don't really have to do much. It has a whole bunch of graphs, which I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. But the main thing is you got to put like the map sensor. This is the I have the GM, the 1 bar, and then the coolant temperature sensor, the mat, and then oil pressure, fuel pressure. So mine is the 100 psi. So pretty much you go through that, then you go through your sensors, which is, oh, I think that's what that was. Okay, so fuel sensors, and then once you go to the system parameters, ECU, Terminator X. So it's pretty simple. 8 cylinders. This is the LS1, so it's 346 cubic inch multi-port injection. This is what my regulator is set at, 58 psi. So we're gonna put 58 psi. That way this thing is running as good as it possibly can, and everything else is set up. Fuel pump prime, and then so ignition parameters, obviously it's the 24 tooth, so you pretty much just set everything up exactly how you have it. And then my NOx sensors, I have to look that up. It's either 1 wire or 2 wire, so I'm about to look that up and we'll see. Okay, so see, that was set wrong. Mine is non-resonant, so now we have that set up. Sensor warnings. There's so much cool stuff here where it can show you all sorts of warnings and whatnot for RPM, oil, coolant, fuel. So all this will get set up in the future. For now, just for a start, we really don't need that, but this is really cool. I can set my fans for the temperature, closed loop learn, so this thing learns on its own. It's just so much stuff. So idle speed, I think we're gonna let it idle low, so 900. Yeah, I think 882. Let's do 814. So stepper, yep, because this is drive by cable and not by wire. So and that's pretty much it. Inputs, outputs, we don't need any of that right now. But now what we need to do is we need to sync it with the ECU. Okay. Okay. Whoops. Well, minimum ECU version. Okay, so I need to update my ECU, huh? Alright guys, check it out. This thing is flashing. We figured out how to update it. Now we will go ahead and sync it once it's all done and upload the tune and see if this bad boy starts. And I wanted my wife here for the first start, so she's gonna witness it as well. Oh my gosh, can't wait. All right guys, I think it's gonna start, hopefully. We're about to find out.
Magic. This man got skills.
All right, hold on. Wonder why the fuel pump turns on and then off. Interesting. All right, guys, so unfortunately, it didn't work out. I need your guys' help. So it is saying there is a calibration issue, and they're saying it could be the throttle position sensor. I honestly don't know, but it's not sending fuel up. I have everything connected. The fuel pump primes, but then it just cuts off immediately. So I'm not sure what it could be, guys. If you could let me know in the comments what you think it could be. And, you know, I'm not sure. We need to figure it out. So I would really appreciate it. That's going to be it for this episode. It's getting super late, and I really got to get home. My wife's got to get home. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, guys. This thing just hasn't started yet, but we've made a lot of progress since the beginning of this episode, and I'm super happy with it, and it's getting super close. So that's more than enough for me for now. So I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for all the love and support, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.